Much love to you and yours. This is Siren Buddha Medicine. Starseeds, I want to talk to you for a moment about the Truman Show and the illusion. I want to talk to you about how when we deal with our shadow selves, we're able to absorb certain energies and we're able to change them and transform them into something else. If you weren't worth anything, if this wasn't anything, if this was all in your head, there would be no need to police you. There would be no need for the Truman Show. There would be no need for Neuralink. And there would be no need for nanoparticles to help activate Neuralink or Shern or the AI system that's reading our thoughts using the Neuralink and actually using our creative intellectual property, like our very soul essence, the things that we look for, the people that we are, and actually mirroring and duplicating who we are. It's not duplicating the, what do you call the MVPs or the non-playable characters, right? The ones in the background, whatever's, right? The copycats. It's not emulating them. It's copying the starseeds. It's copying you. Okay, it's copying the Most High's people. It's copying the people that are looking for the truth. So it's looking for us truth seekers are the ones that have been being policed, right? Us truth tellers and seekers. And when we face our shadow selves, this becomes our greatest weapon towards darkness, right? Because we fight not with weapons, but we fight not against weapons, but against spiritual principalities and things in high places. So we're looking at the cause and effect of what we're fighting, okay? So it's not the actual individual in front of us per se, as much as them being a vessel that left themselves open for these other energies and entities, these thought forms, these archons, these Leviathan type beings to come in and control them. Okay. Well, I said all that to remind you as your life coach, 369A, changing the energy and spinning things around using the higher frequency, right? And the feminine principle through Siren Buddha medicine. That this whole time, once you realize and you deal with your shadow self and you're able to deal with the energies, right? Your own energies, you're able to absorb some of the counterproductive energy. You're able to transmute it, to change it, to get to know it, like to an enmeshment. And with an enmeshment, just like energy goes one way, energy goes another. When it comes to mounting, it's more like programming yourself, right? Because we have a lot of programs that were counterproductive. And so when you actively take part in acknowledging the shadow self, you can readjust these different programs as you see fit in your heart. So it's the balancing of the heart, right? And your intention. And it goes a long way if you're trying to line up with more than just yourself through not being selfish. So when everything is all lined up and your intentions are there, that's your navigating system through other modalities, okay? Because you're standing on a solid foundation. Because your intent, you know your intention, and you know what you want out of the situation. So you can take these energies that are coming from, once you connect them to the other energies, these entities, these deities, these things, you could see that, okay, I'm dealing with a Leviathan. I'm dealing with jealousy. I'm dealing with ego. I'm dealing with lust. I'm dealing with, you can relate it to some other system, right? Some other dogma to anchor it in to something that has manifested itself in a tangible way in the 3D that you can get your hands on, that you can look at, that you can add to the other things that you're learning. As you're layering these different concepts, you're always layering it in light and love and in the truth that The only way to actually change the energy and this darkness is to not be fooled and allow it to consume you, meaning to turn you into what it is. That doesn't mean that you're not going to feel anger and pain and these things. It means that when you see it, you reflect on it and you own it. You don't spread it. Whereas hurt people, they don't own their own stuff and they're always blaming it on someone else. And it keeps perpetuating a system. You're able to stop it where you are and say, wow, this is coming from me. How is this coming from me? Why is this coming from me? Where did this emulate from? Oh, okay, it's a system and where that system came from. And you literally allow yourself, the more honest that you become, the more human you become, to dissipate these demonic or counterproductive energies, however you see fit to view them, right? I like counterproductive versus productive, logical versus just emotional, and not that we don't need both negative and positive energies. You're going to use these two polarities to your benefit because that's just the world that we're in, okay? And once you learn how to do that, and you're looking at this whole Truman Show, and you're looking at all the effort that was taken to keep you into the Truman Show, you'll realize the actual real truth is that you were never really the prisoner. The people that are policing you are the real prisoners. They spend all their time watching you. That's a lot of fear. It's fear coming from these other counterproductive spirits and energies, these archons. You know, fears attached to agendas that are attached to bloodlines, that attached to ancient wars. Okay? Worship. Taking the concept of God and turning it against people where they don't really actually have a real relationship with God, a personal relationship. They're warring more like an icon or a deity that someone else is usurping, that something else is usurping. Okay, and using in a counterproductive way within our whole society. Okay, so when we empower ourselves, and when we targeted individuals that are being gang stalked by these government programs, we have to look at our ancient history. We have to look at our Moorish, Islamic, Hebrew history, those who cross over, okay, those who change, those who, we went through different systems and different modalities. That's just who we were. We were always seeking and searching spirituality, and in different ways, just like Islam puts that up front. That's what they're doing. They're searching and, investigating God and man, and God's relationship with man, and different systems also enter into that same relationship. Okay, it's been twisted and it's been morphed, and so we're truth tellers, and we're also genetically, the words come to mind, genetically altered and modified. However, we're just born this way within the 3D, okay, through whatever they did when they were modifying and changing things in the past. There's certain genetic blood types. There's those of us that are just plugged in different, right, to source energy. And those are who I'm calling star seeds. We're just a little different. We're wired different. We can hear messages. And after we deal with not just our shadow selves, right, and our need to fit in to what other people are telling us, to find our own narrative and our own truth through our hearts, right? Because for a long time, I was told that what I was hearing and feeling was crazy, and I should believe, and I should acknowledge something entirely different that wasn't to my benefit. But it did benefit other groups and other sources that like to usurp energy. As I learned more about history and more about different groups that use our government and use different programs and things like that to police those who are not puppeteered, governed, manipulated, controlled, handled through other systems, like what's been going on with the colleges, the Masonic type frequency and energy, that allegiance to their brothers or the Eastern Stars, to their sisters or sororities, to their college, or to this, that is an egregor, that is an entity, where you're willing to not even question and just do whatever it is someone told you to for the sake of the group, which a group themselves, even in psychology, is another entity by itself. So groups get studied all by themselves because they take on another energy. Groups can be very dangerous or very productive. It doesn't take long once you get a frequency. And groups are a very interesting concept when you think of the number 10 and Lord and implosion and 9 and rotation, but that's just another thing. Anyway, what I'm trying to say is that this is something in me, I keep trying to be nice about it, but you get to a place where you realize, where the ancestors speak to you and tell you to own your energy, right? Own your empowerment, own what they gave us, and like, there's no fear. There's a lot of connections and plugins to spiritual things that they say happen to you when you know the Most High, when you have a relationship with the Shekinah, with the Holy Spirit, or whatever you choose to call the Comforter, a spirit of wisdom that comes to you. And you realize that this whole time, their fear caused them to lie. Their fear caused them to police you. Their fear caused them to treat you inhuman while they expect humanity. Their fear and their greed and their ego, that's Leviathan, right? Caused them to steal from you and feel like they're better than you, so that they should be able to take your creative content and your intellectual property, that they, using these hidden groups, these hidden sources, should be able to. Their fear leads them to lie on you. Their fear leads them to want to control you. Their fear leads them to steal your creative property, the ego, that part of the Leviathan spirit, causes them to feel like I'm better than you, and I'm going to, because you're ignorant and you're not in these secret little groups and stuff like that, and you didn't pay in, you didn't buy in, and you didn't do what I did. What gives you the right to be who you are? And not wanting to negate that you're chosen, you're just that way by design. This is really you. This is just who you are, right? When you take all these things into consideration, how much effort, how much money, how much concentration people put into policing you, into watching you, into trying to stop you, into trying to delay you, into stealing from you, and to trying to confuse you, and to doing witchcraft on you, and to putting energy weapons on you, and to confusing you, and to street performancing for you, and the changing the narrative on you, where they're scandalous and like out there, venomously talking about you, smear campaigns, that's the name, these different tactics that are used. That's so much effort and energy. Isn't that what they're trying to get from you? Most High is your energy. And they have to use all these people to police just one of us. A whole Truman Show that their whole secret society worldwide knows about. Okay? Who's in whose prison? We're not in their prison. We're in the Truman Show, yes. But they're in our prison. We're not in theirs. And the sooner we realize that and take responsibility, the more empowered we feel, and the more responsibility, more grounded I feel in the energy that I have to be authentic and to bring forth what my DNA, what my blood is calling out. The fire in my blood is calling out for me to be and do. The more connected I feel. And the more they come at me, the more hungry I feel. It's like this ancient hunger that I know I'm getting ready to eat. And it's on a spiritual level. And I have to acknowledge that. I have to balance these different energies and stuff that I was given from our ancestors, right? And so when you looked at the concept of God and how it was morphed for better or worse, and then you look at the DNA and how man, woman was designed after the gods, and you consider Earth history, right? And the way we work and the stories and in this age of information, how things are coming together, with the Moorish history and the Hebrews, those who cross over. Something got cut off. I'm not sure if you caught this part before or not. So I want to make sure that this is in there, right? And the Israelite thing, right? When we consider the religions and the usurping, we have to look at how the original came from women. All right? The original concept of God and this whole world came from women. And it even says that in the Sefer Yusefer. Hold on one second. Okay. These are the three mothers, AMS, and that's air, that's water, and fire. And from them emulated the three fathers. And from them emulated the three fathers. Three fathers and their descendants, and the 7 planets, and their hosts, and the 12 diagonal boundaries, as proof of this. True witness in the universe, year, soul, and rule of 12, and the 7 and 3. He sent them, and the telly, and the cycle, and the heart. He set them. This is the same as 3 and 2, except for the fathers emulate, while above they were born, and they were born from the 3 mothers. Okay, so that's where the field of chaos, where there was no differentiation, where the fathers brought the differentiation, birthed from the essence of the mothers. There's nothing here that wasn't built on something that was here before, and it needs to be respected. And that's why our world is off balance now. It's because of the off balance of the male and female energy, which is an actual consciousness, can be measured. It has a purpose here on the planet. This is the way that the Tully looks. This is the great serpent, the dragon. Notice how many different cultures have a serpent or a dragon type deity that they speak of. The coiled serpent, the Leviathan. The coiled serpent, the Leviathan, is the same thing as the primitive part of ourselves, the animalistic parts of ourselves, right? And so when you look at the zodiac, notice how all of them pretty much are animal type spirits and depictions, at least in the Americans depiction that we have most well known here. I mean, it does change even in other cultures. There's other animal symbolism in regards to the zodiac. Except for Aquarius is actually a man symbol holding the water. Aquarius is holding the water in a jug. But Aquarius is not a water symbol. Aquarius is an air symbol. But if you know about science, air is also water, depending on the condensicity. And you're also talking about alchemy, which is where we are right now, when we're talking about the alchemy and the science of spirituality and how it ties in with our history and our biology and what we can do with that now in order to connect back with our ancient selves, the fire in the blood, the ancestral history. And what relevance does that have to us now? Well, everything, because it helps us to develop our spirits, our ancient knowledge, our collective consciousness that is carried on and developed over time. So even the essences that we're living off of now, that we're discovering, that we're unfolding and putting together, show me that this is not over your head. Give me some comments. Let me know you're there and the lights are on and you're with me, not just watching me to usurp my material, because I'm being kind, sharing it with you, doing my duty as a starseed. Okay? Do your due diligence and your duty too, and show me some love in this world where there's so many hearts waxing cold. Ashe. Amen. I'm out. Even that is like a porthole that goes through space and time, through the different rotations. It goes through that black hole, through the implosion, through the fire in the blood. And just that radio wave doesn't go just one way. It's possible for it to go both ways. There's a communication going on between our ancestors and ourselves. There's a communication going on. And so that's why there's this big Truman Show. And that's why you should know that all this effort and policing, even spiritually, you can't beat it. Even if you do on a physical level, you can figure it out. You have to account for it spiritually. And that's where you realize that there's a lot of thought forms. Consider that movie, The Fallen. Starseed, do you ever be in an area or a place and like everything just seems to stand at attention and feel like it's very alert of you and it doesn't feel friendly, right? And you know that you're emulating a certain frequency that is a high frequency. So it's not you snarling inside. So you have to consider that some things due to magnetism is just because you are who you are. It's not because you match frequency. It's because you're the opposite frequency. And certain spirits and frequencies are attached to the opposite frequencies because they need to eat. Like, it's alchemy. Like heat leaves, right? Like fire consumes, right? Like desire consumes and seeks out, right? So we have to look at things alchemically. And so, yeah, frankly, we're not in their prison. We're not their slaves. They have become ours, all their own doing, as if we want that. And all the while knowing what they're doing to themselves, hurting themselves and trapping themselves and their own families with this behavior, as if it's not going to come back, unravel, and ensnare them, as if it was only meant for us. We're the ones that were valuable. How they paid so much to test the system out, but there's more of them than us, isn't there? Oh, the weave, the weave we weave when we first learn to deceive, you know. Oh, the webs we weave when first we learn to deceive. And like cause and effect and universal law and respecting that things are alive and there's consciousness, and how people are messing with things that they don't truly understand, that they believe that they can just manipulate because there's an aspect of empathy or creation. You know, the creative energy is usually vulnerable and malleable, right? And to something hungry that just wants what it wants, it looks like it's easily able to be conquered and dominated. And that's the odd thing about how when there's an alignment, there has to be an alignment, you know? Yeah, and we're way past that time, to change this energy, and that's what's happening now. The shifting of the wheat from the tares as we go through the black hole. Okay, that alignment already happened. We've been in the alignment, and all these different time shifts are becoming more apparent to many more people. The truth is becoming more apparent, and the different things that they utilize to try to maintain their status regarding usurping the energy by using AI and using Shern and using the Neuralink, using neurolinguistics, using a lot of hypnotic different type of things to throw a wrench in it as people wake up in order to continue to usurp the energy, to anchor themselves. Another thing that was pertinent is the people worship is imperative because we hold these certain people within our consciousness. And so as we move through the different timeline shifts, we end up bringing the consciousness of the recollection of these episodes and these peoples with us. So if we want to believe the narrative that they're all powerful and which is part of the trick, but you have to consider what Dr. Francis Scott Wessling used to say about using your brain computer. You have to consider all the effort that they put in, and things don't add up. You know what I'm saying? 1 and 1, 1 plus 1 equals 2, right? You have to have a formula. If A is true and B is true, then C is more likely also true. Not less likely true in a world of illusion where they're trying to make you feel like you're entirely and totally insane. So do the math, right? Much love to you and yours. This is Siren Buddha Medicine, the feminine essence, speaking through my blood. Wisdom, the female principle, okay? With Life Coach 369A, navigating through this system. How I navigate through this system, how I look at this system, and the tools that I use, some of them, feel free to donate and show me some love. I would definitely appreciate it. Show me that we're actually breaking the curse, and donate at Cash App Life Coach 369A, okay? Life Coach 369A, Siren Buddha Medicine, Cash App. Okay, I'm out. Much love to you and yours.